If you've played any games in the Persona franchise or across the Megami Tensei series in general, you know that the Personas wielded are inspired by demons and creatures in folklore from all around the world. This video series aims to delve into the myths and legends that inspired them. To start off with, we'll talk about Obarian. Obarian is a piggyback demon that originates from the Nagata Prefecture in Japan. Using Yokai.com as a source for this entry, it claims that the name comes from the local Nagata dialect meaning, "give me a piggyback ride." According to local folklore, the demon hides in bushes and when it notices a passerby, it yells out, "Obarian!" It hops onto the person's back and proceeds to get heavier as they keep walking, to the point that it ends up crushing the human. However, on the off chance that the person made it back home with the Obarian, they find a bag of money on their back. The Obarian also likes to chew on the scalp of the person, so many wear straw hats on their heads. The Obarian acts as a metaphor for parenting. If you persevere through the trials and tribulations of parenting, you will be rewarded. High pixies are higher ranking pixies that watch over the lower ranking pixies to keep them safe. They often guard the caves and ruins where the other pixies dwell. Dekarabia is a Goetia demon. Goetia is a form of sorcery. Dekarabia is listed in the Ars Goetia, one of the 5 books of the Lesser Key of Solomon. He is a great Marquis of Hell and is in charge of 30 demon legions. While he can take the form of a man if requested, he normally appears in the shape of a pentagram star. Legion is a collection of demons that originate in Abrahamic mythology. The demons that make up Legion are not known, but in one notable anecdote, Jesus encountered a man possessed by Legion. He managed to perform an exorcism. Legion requested that they not be banished and Jesus complied with the request. He instead cast the demons out. Ose is another demon listed in the Ars Goetia. He is a great president of hell. He rules over 3 legions of demons. He takes the form of a leopard initially, but eventually becomes a man. He is skilled in teaching men all there is to know about the sciences as well as divine beings. He also has the ability to bring insanity to anyone the summoner wishes, but only temporary. Bugbear is a figure from Welsh folklore and is a type of hobgoblin. It is effectively a Welsh take on the boogeyman and was often used to scare disobedient children. The word comes from the Middle English word bug, meaning a frightening thing. Crystal skulls were at one point thought to be pre-Columbian Mesoamerican artifacts, but are now widely considered a hoax. It was said that if all 13 skulls were put together, they would reveal the mysteries of the universe as famously depicted in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. The most well-known example is the one that is currently seen in the British Museum. It was discovered in 1881 in the shop of Eugene Boban. Recent analysis has found that it was carved in either the 18th or 19th century. Dionysus was the Greek god of wine, orchids, deity, and fertility. His Roman name was Bacchus. He was the son of Zeus and Semele. To some, he was considered a liberator because he was effectively a way to dismiss the worries of the world. He had connections going as far as Ethiopia. Dionysus had 4 festivals dedicated to him: Dionysia, Haloa, Ascola, and Linnea. Black Frost is essentially just the evil version of Jack Frost. Vishnu is a Hindu deity and had a primary interest in the well-being of humanity. He is of course the god of preservation. He appears in numerous avatars in order to maintain balance in the world. His final avatar, Kalki, it is claimed to bring about a new era. The current universe will end and a new one will be born. The jack-o'-lantern has its origins in English and Irish mythology. The term was originally used to describe the Ignis Fatuus phenomenon, more commonly known as the will-o'-the-wisp in England. It first appeared in the English dictionary in 1658, referring to Ignis Fatuus, and in 1663 referred to a man with a lantern. It is also attached to the legend of Stingy Jack, a frequently drunk Irish farmer that was known to deceive many people. He even asked the devil not to take him to hell. However, when he passed away, he discovered that he could not get into heaven, so he was doomed to wander the earth forever with either a pumpkin or a turnip for a head and carrying a lantern. The carving of jack-o'-lanterns is heavily associated with Halloween. Usually people use pumpkins or sometimes turnips. Pumpkins generally used are the Connecticut field pumpkins. Some say the people make jack-o'-lanterns to help guide Jack on his way. Kate Sith has its roots in Scottish and Irish mythology. Cat Sith means fairy cat. According to legend, Kate Sith has the ability to converse in human tongue and walk on 2 legs. It travels to and from the cat kingdom and human world, and has a white star-like formation on its chest. Some folklore claims that Kate Sith likes to steal the souls of the dead if they haven't yet gone to the afterlife. Because of this, people will take watch over the dead bodies to prevent this from happening. The appearance of Kate Sith in the game was inspired by Puss in Boots of all things. Jack Frost is the personification of ice and snow in English mythology. Its earliest known reference was the 1732 book Roundabout a Coal Fire, although there may have been earlier versions of the tale rooted in Anglo-Saxon and Norse customs. In addition, the Finnish national epic Kalevala, a compilation of ancient oral tradition, has a whole section dedicated to a similar creature. Nekomata is of Japanese origin and is a type of yokai. It has two different versions, ones that live in the mountains and ones that are old cats that become yokai. The stories of the mountain Nekomata actually predated Japan and were first mentioned as far back as the Sui dynasty in China. It was called the Xian Li. There were said to be leopards that grew old and developed the ability to shapeshift into humans and suck the spirit out of them. They didn't show up in Japan until the early Kamakura period. It was said to be a mountain beast and people eater. The second variation are usually evolved domestic cats. Since the Edo period, there has been a superstition that once these domestic cats grow old, they evolve into Nekomata and run off. Because of this, locals have developed this idea that you shouldn't hold on to these cats for too long once they grow old. Much like their mountainous counterparts, they are also said to eat people. It is not to be confused with the Bakaneko. The difference being that the Nekomata has two tails, whereas the Bakaneko has one. In addition, the existence of these two creatures could have a connection to the breeding of the Japanese bobtail. This breed has been known in Japan for centuries, but it was only formally recognised in the 1960s. Its most well-known feature that being its small bobtail. Cats often depicted as creatures to be wary of in Japanese folklore, and the length of their tails plays a role in that. Longer-tailed cats are viewed as suspicious because of their potential to turn into Nekomata. On the other hand, bobtails are seen as more innocent because of their short, stubby tails. Sandman is a figure from European folklore and specifically relegated to the German countryside and is effectively the personification of dreams. He could be considered to be an interpretation of Morpheus, the Greek god of dreams. As the stories say, he would sprinkle dust into the eyes. The earliest known story about the Sandman dates back to 1816, which was titled Der Sandman by E.T.A. Hoffmann. Hans Christian Andersen also published a story about the Sandman in 1841. The Sandman has become a fixture in pop culture, appearing in various different works such as the 2012 film Rise of the Guardians and of course the Neil Gaiman comic book series, which was recently adapted into television for Netflix. Choronzon is a figure from the occult and was a demon summoned by Aleister Crowley. It was said to hold a lot of knowledge. Choronzon originated within the 16th century writings of Edward Kelly and John Dee. Edward Kelly was a Renaissance occultist. During the Renaissance period, there was a resurgence in interest in magic. The sources were of Arabic, Jewish, and Egyptian origin, so of course their exotic nature were of interest to the nobility. It has been claimed by Aleister Crowley that both he and Victor Newberg summoned Choronzon in Algeria in 1909. The demon became a central part of Thelema, a movement created by Aleister. Next is Queen Mab. Queen Mab has her origins in Celtic folklore. Better known as Med, she is the Queen of Connacht in the Ulster Cycle. The Ulster Cycle is of four medieval Irish sagas. The Ulster Cycle focuses on the conflict between the kingdoms of Ulster and Connacht. The main characters are King Conchobar mac Nessa, Sue, Tulane, and Med. She is promiscuous, ambitious, strong-willed, and cunning. She likely inspired the Shakespeare character of the same name, where she is effectively a dark counterpart to Queen Titania. Next is Rangda. Rangda is a figure from Balinese mythology. She is the demon queen of the Layaks. She is considered to be an incarnation of Kalun Arang, a witch that caused chaos in the 10th century during the reign of King Arlanga. The Layaks have the ability to detach the heads and entrails. There are numerous historical figures that could have inspired Rangda, the most popular one being Mahendrada, the Queen of Bali. She was exiled from her kingdom in Balinese folklore and claims she was exiled because of her interest in witchcraft, and Durga, who was one of the most revered deities in Hinduism. She is said to have summoned Layaks from the jungle and other evil spirits to attack the kingdom. She is also said to have summoned a plague that killed off half the kingdom. This story was most certainly fabricated. Her potential inspiration for Rangda might be rooted in xenophobia because of her disdain for anything foreign amongst the Balinese. It is also worth mentioning that Rangda in Old Javanese means widow. Fornius is another one of these Gaweta demons. He is listed as number 30 in the Ars Gaweta. He is a great marquis of hell and is said to reign over 29 legions of demons. He is often depicted as a sea monster. He has the ability to teach man foreign tongues and even give them good names. While he is usually depicted as a sea monster, he does have a human form he likes to go by. Surt or Surtur is a being originating from Norse mythology. He is a fire Jotun that rules over Muspelheim and guards over the entrance, wielding the sword Leviathan, which is said to be brighter than the sun. He is considered to be both a creator and a destroyer. The fires of his land are said to have created the stars, and in addition to his role in the story of Ragnarok, he brings down fire upon the lands of Asgard. In 2017, this was famously depicted in the film Thor Ragnarok, and he was voiced by Clancy Brown. The next one is Fatsunushi. Fatsunushi is the Shinto deity of swords, and he is considered the personification of the sword Fatsu no Mitama. He is also associated with war, lightning, and fire. You could also see that he is the Japanese equivalent of Ares, and he is also considered to be a legendary ancestor to the Mononobe clan. He is the primary deity of the Kotori Shrine network and is also enshrined at the Kasuga Grand Shrine alongside Takamikazuchi. Kusumitama or Kushimitama is considered an aspect of the human soul in Shintoism. It is called the wondrous soul. It has abilities according to Shintoism to initiate transformations and cure ailments. Nigimitama in Shintoism is considered to be the calm part of one's soul. Ananta, also known as Shisha, is a figure from Hindu mythology and is the king of the serpents. He is also considered to be a being of creation. He was born to Kashyapa and Kadru. Shisha is said to have come to earth in the following forms: Lakshmana, brother of Rama, and Balarama, brother of Krishna. He is depicted as having as little as 5 heads to up to 1,000,000 heads, with each head usually adorning a crown. Yatagarasu is another figure from Japanese mythology, and he is a great divine bird. It isn't mentioned a whole lot in Shintoism, but he does have a relationship with the Emperor Jimmu myth. He was supposedly sent from the heavens to guide Jimmu on his journey to modern-day Yamato. The explanation for the 3 legs is that the legs represent heaven, earth, and man. The Chinese 3-legged crow could have provided some inspiration. Interestingly though, in the Kojiki where the Jimmu myth is documented alongside others, Yatagarasu was not mentioned as having 3 legs, so this was likely a later addition to the myth. Seiru is a figure that has its roots in the Chinese mythos. In China, it is known as Qinglong, which translates to the Azure Dragon. It is one of the 4 symbols of the Chinese constellation. It represents strength, prosperity, and protection. In Japan, it is known as Seiru Cheonggong in the Koreans and Banlong in Vietnamese. This dragon is featured in a lot of places throughout Asian culture. Seiru is one of the 4 guardian dragons of cities and protects Kyoto specifically. Vohamana is a figure from the religion of Zoroastrianism. It represents the good state of mind and is one of the 6 Amesha Spentas. He also represents all animals and cattle in particular. In the Zoroastrian calendar, the 2nd day of each month and the 11th month are dedicated to Vohamana. Akamana is the evil opponent of Vohamana. Suku, or better known as the Green Lady, is a female spirit from Celtic folklore. They act as phantom housemaids, draped in silk and performing various household tasks, and even guarding against intruders. They are generally harmless, however they can cause mischief and leave the property in disarray. The Green Lady myth is common throughout Scotland. Some former castles like the Denali Castle, Mucharles Castle, and Fyvie Castle have a Green Lady myth. The Silky name actually isn't correct, as Silkies are a whole different creature in Scottish folklore. The Green Lady legend is a take on the Glassstead ghost. Some Green Lady tales say that she was once a noble woman and she was murdered in a green dress and then subsequently shoved up a chimney by a servant. Aspars are female spirits in Hindu and Buddhist mythos. They are depicted in a similar way to water nymphs in Greek mythology. They are the spouses of Gandharvas, who are the court musicians. Aspars are masters of dance and do this to entertain the gods and the fallen heroes. Some prominent Aspars include Urvashi, Manaka, and Tilatama. Kohinoor, one of the treasure demons, no doubt takes its name from the infamous Kohinoor diamond. The name means mountain of light in Hindi. It is one of the largest cut diamonds on earth, weighing in at 105 carats. It is believed that the diamond was cut in the Kolar mine in India during the Kakatiya dynasty. Fast forward a few centuries later, and following the Second Anglo-Sikh War in 1849, the diamond was formally surrendered to the UK under the Treaty of Lahore. It was taken to the UK and became a part of the British Crown Jewels. Despite this, there has actually been an ownership dispute. Following the independence of India in 1947, the newly established Indian government asked for it back, but Britain said no. India has asked for it back multiple times since then, but all were turned down. India is not the only country that has asked for it, as Pakistan and even Afghanistan has made claims on the diamond. Afghani claim stems from the memoirs of Shuja Durrani. Shuja Durrani was the Shah of Durrani Empire, which was situated in modern-day Afghanistan. It claims that Shuja surrendered the diamond to Ranjit Singh, who was having his son tortured in front of him. The Kohinoor also has a reputation of being cursed for male wearers, so it is only worn by women. The diamond set in the crown for the Queen consort of the coronation. However, it was removed for the coronation of Queen Camilla. Scarhath is a figure from Irish mythology and was in the Ulster cycle. She was a martial arts teacher and taught Sue Tulane. She is Scottish and said to have originated from the Isle of Skye, and her main residence was said to be Dunscaith Castle. Sue Tulane started having an affair with Scarhath's daughter Uthark. Sue Tulane later killed Uthark's lover, Cocha Croiber, and he assumed Cocha's role in addition to becoming Uthark's lover. Ive, who is believed to be Scarhath's sister, threatens her territory and challenges Sue Tulane to a battle. He defeats her and eventually winds up engaging in intercourse with him and has his child, who is named Conla. Sue Tulane eventually winds up killing his son without knowing that it's his. Kikurihime is a minor figure from Japanese mythology and had a role in the myth of Izanami and Izanagi. When Izanagi was forced out of the netherworld whilst trying to retrieve Izanagi, Kikurihime meditated on behalf of Izanami so they could talk about their confrontation. What Kikurihime did was establish the duty of the mythos. They are those shrine maidens you see a lot in Japanese anime. Skadi is a figure from Norse mythology. She is a Jotun, specifically a giantess and a goddess who is heavily associated with skiing, bow hunting, winter and mountains. She was the daughter of Thiazi. She was at one point married to Njord and even said to be married to Odin and reportedly had several children with him. In both the Poetic Edda and the Prose Edda, she was one who was responsible for the serpent that dripped the poison on Loki while he was bound. Cybele is a figure from Greco-Roman mythology, and she was heavily associated with the city of Phrygia. She is essentially a type of mother goddess. The idea of Cybele originated in Anatolia, and the Greek colonists in the area adapted her to fit into their pantheon. She ended up becoming the protector of several city-states. She was viewed as throne and exotic goddess, and often came in on lion-drawn chariots. Her worship was also unique, as she had a unique priesthood. In Rome, she was known by the name Magna Mater. The Queen's Necklace treasure demon is inspired by the affair of the diamond necklace. In 1772, King Louis XV commissioned a diamond necklace for his mistress, Madame du Barry. The jewellers took several years to accumulate the diamonds required to make the necklace. The necklace was described by the historian Thomas Carlyle as a row of 17 glorious diamonds as large as almost as filberts, a 3-weaved festoon, and pendants enough encircled around a very queen of diamonds. However, Louis did not live to be able to give it to her, and when his grandson took the throne, he banished her from court. Later in the 1780s, a con artist by the name of Gian de Valois Saint-Remy wanted to use the necklace to gain power and status within the French court. She began an affair with Cardinal de Rohan. In 1785, Gian and Rohan went to the jeweler and claimed that Marie Antoinette wanted to buy the necklace. Gian forged her signature and managed to obtain it. It was later picked apart and the diamonds were sold in the black market. Rohan was later convicted of fraud, and the scandal further sullied the reputation of Marie Antoinette and played a role in the French Revolution. Yaksinis are beings from Hindu folklore and other female counterparts of Yaksas. They are described as being voluptuous, having wide hips, narrow waists, and large breasts. Both the Yaksini and the Yaksa tend to be to the god Kubera, who represents wealth. They look after the treasure hidden within the earth. The Yaksini are pretty much said to be harmless, however there are some with nefarious intentions. Lamia was a figure from Greco-Roman mythology. She was the queen of Libya who fell in love with Zeus and bore him children. As you can predict, Hera was not too happy about it. She proceeded to kill all the children. Some versions say that Hera even forced Lamia to kill them all and eat them. After this, Lamia, so grief-stricken, went on to kill and eat numerous children and ended up turning into a hideous monster as a result. Hariti is a figure from Buddhism who originated from modern-day Pakistan. She was said to originally be a Yaksini who killed children in order to feed her own children. Gautama Buddha wanted to put a stop to this, so he took one of her children and hid him under a rice bowl. Gautama pointed this out to her that the loss of only one of her children does not compare to that of the human mothers whose few children she took to feed in her own. Upon realizing this, she converted to Buddhism and became a fertility goddess, thus ironically becoming the protector of childbirth. Dakini is a figure from Buddhist and Tibetan mythology. The idea of the Dakini differs depending on the context. In some early Hindu texts, she is seen as a demoness and consumed the flesh and souls of humans. In Hindu tantric texts, she was associated with the 6 chakras of the human soul. In Japanese Buddhism, she became associated with foxes and thus coalesced into a deity known as Dakinitan. Titania is a character from the Shakespeare play A Midsummer Night's Dream. She is the queen of Fae and her husband is King Oberon. In the story, Titania and Oberon bicker over a changeling boy. Her servant Puck casts a spell to get her to fall in love with Nick Bottom, who has the head of a donkey. Titania, the name, is believed to have come from the goddess Diana. Due to the popularity of the play, Titania has been used as the name of the fairy queen in other works of fiction. Kali is a Hindu goddess that is a member of the 10 Mahavidyas and is heavily associated with death, time, and destruction. She is depicted as having numerous arms that are armed with swords. In the past, she has been seen as malevolent, but recently she is more considered to be associated with time. Thus, she is more considered to be more benevolent these days. Her name generally means black, but in folk etymology it can mean force of time. Her spouse is Shiva and she is often depicted as standing on top of him. Her main place of worship is Kolkata and she has many followers there. Mother Harlot, aka the Whore of Babylon, is a figure from the Book of Revelation. She is depicted as having a purple robe and sat upon a seven-headed beast. She is said to be the mother of all prostitutes and will supposedly help bring about the end of times. However, she will end up meeting her end at the hands of the beast. Mother Harlot is basically an allegory for Rome. The colour of her dress was also very popular in Rome, which is the colour purple. It is said that the 7 heads of the beast she is riding is meant to symbolise the 7 hills of Rome. Alternatively, it could be referring to the 7 layers of Roman government, or perhaps the 7 great kingdoms of the ancient world. And honestly, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. As you can tell, we are not done here yet. There will be a part 2. There are many personas that I haven't explained. So if you are new to this, you can check out my series on the Internet Iceberg. In addition, you can also check out my videos on defunct brands. I also made a video explaining the mythos on the protagonist personas. So thanks for watching.